Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Talk3D. My name is Ken, and I'm going to be your host today. Today I have with me Ozzie Sanfolin from Ozaero Custom Designs, and he's going to share with us his journey to making this amazing ejection seat, almost fully 3D printed. But before we get there, let's talk about from you. Let's get a little bit of an introduction of who you are, what you do, and what your company does.
Okay, hi Ken, nice to be here with you guys at Talk3D. Ozaero started basically 4 years ago. So the idea was to provide some scale parts for the RC model hobby, and more particularly in jet models.
Yeah.
And the reason why we explored that part, because we saw a lack of scale details on those planes. So that's how Ozaero started.
Okay, and only 4 years ago. I would have expected a lot longer because you made this incredible piece here, and this is just one of the pieces that you've designed. But let's talk about your community, the hobby, the RC market. How did you stumble into that? Was that a hobby of yours before you started doing the business, or was it something where you started doing this and then they came to you? How did that story happen?
Okay, so this actually started as a hobby.
Okay.
So this is, let's be back 35 years ago, back in Brazil, where I'm from. And there I started as a hobby, and then I started to make planes that time, and I started a small factory there. And then in 2003, when I moved to Canada, and for a little while I was off completely of the design as a graphic designer. And but then 4 years ago, when we come with this idea again, back in the hobby and the planes design. So, and then we start designing 3D. For the first time in my life, I was introduced to 3D software, and it was a big challenge at the beginning because I never had any access to that. But I started slowly, and with a small little design, small little pieces. And then as I learn, we start to go a little bit deeper and in details, and then we got to the point where we see here today, right?
Amazing. I love stories where someone goes from nothing to this incredible piece, and that's obviously your story as well. So this is, one part of the RC planes that you used to build. How did you fall into a particular ejection seat? And I understand that this model is pretty much accurate to the real thing. Okay. So maybe we can talk about how you decided to do ejection seats specifically rather than some other parts of the plane. Or do you do other parts as well?
Okay. Yeah, so this was, to be honestly, it was by accident, Ken.
Okay.
Because I bought for myself a Bayhawk jet.
Okay.
Was an even big jet. It was like a 1/7 scale. Yeah. So, and then when I saw the cockpit in that jet, I saw, wow, the quality is so poor, because all the manufacturers, they didn't focus much on those details, right? So I said, oh, maybe I can try to make a cockpit for my own jet. So I start from the ejection seat, because I saw the ejection seat was very, very poor in details.
Right.
And then I start to research about, so where I can find photos, for example, for the seats, right? Because in Canada, it's not possible to get those details in a military base here, right? So.
And at this point, nobody was making these. You couldn't buy them off the shelf or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing, right? So nothing in the market wasn't in this kind of level yet, right? So I start to research pictures in the Pinterest. So in the Pinterest, I start to see pictures, and thank goodness a lot of people post a lot.
So that was your only reference point, just
only
pictures that random people post and tag on Pinterest.
That's it.
So how many pictures did you look at before you even got close to some of these sections?
I probably have over 200 pictures in my files, and as I exploring the details, every details I got, I try to learn also what that doing in an ejection seat, because I'm not
Right.
engineering, I don't have any technical knowledge, but I want to make sure when design that, make that accurate. Whatever the part is designed and made, be exactly where it's supposed to be.
Right.
So in the pictures, you cannot see that much.
Right.
So I start to also explore like the technical books
Yes.
for the seats.
Right.
So I was able, through the community, the RC Jets,
Yeah.
some scale guys that
Yeah.
we call, they start to help me with that. They start to provide some scale detail in the books.
Yes.
So some of them also was a guy from South Africa. He actually worked as a mechanic and maintenance for the ejection seats in some company there. I don't know exactly
Right.
what it is, but he's the one who sends a lot of material with the technical parts.
Awesome.
That helps to make the project even more accurate.
Yeah,
right?
so that's a very tight-knit community
Yeah.
that you're in, and now you're a big part of that community as well because you got something that nobody else does. But in terms of this ejection seat, like what happens if you have pictures but you couldn't see that particular valve? Do you just kind of guess or extrapolate from other ejection seat models? And how did you get all of the details? Because you can't have possibly gotten enough photos to see every single detail on that seat.
Yeah, exactly, Ken. That's a good point you mentioned. So some parts there, I have to use my graphic design skills and come with my own ideas. Like for example, this piece here.
Yeah.
So I didn't have exactly how the piece is because each version of that particular seat, they have different design.
Right.
So I decided just make my own version, try to get accurate as much I could, right? So and then we got these results. Another piece too was a manifold they call in the back.
Yeah.
It's a valve. So also some detail hidden in the pictures you can't see, right? So I just tried to guess, and then I came with my own definition for no, I think this is make it look like nice.
It's an educated guess, right?
So just and some parts, like for example, this barostatic cows, that I was able to get a picture from that, so I was able to do very accurate. But some parts there is just impossible. Like
right. So that's amazing that you put it all together.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not a big RC jet person, and I don't really know about aviation. So tell me, which jet does this ejection seat belong to?
Okay.
And what model of ejection seat is it?
Okay, so the idea for this size is a 1/3.5 scale for the Bayhawk.
Okay.
Bayhawk is an English plane they use in the English the Air Force,
Right.
half. So they use that particular seat, and so we make this one exact for that version. And the reason why we did this size was because a friend that we actually met through this project, that actually we get to know this person from Austria.
Yeah.
He's he's the most fictionated scale guy I ever met in my life. So he actually has this Bayhawk 135 scale. So he gave all the measurements for inside the cockpit of his plane, and that's where he started to make the seat. And now we work in a cockpit to put this seat inside his plane, right?
So one question that I have on my mind is when we talk about RC jets, they actually fly. They actually function just like real jets. But this is obviously, not only a piece of art, but technically accurate, and it took you a long time to make this. And we'll get into how long it took you to make this and how you made this. But do people actually put this into the jet and fly it?
Exactly. And not only that, they put a pilot on that. Actually very nice pilot. We have a friend actually from the UK.
Yeah.
He makes the most beautiful pilots, the military pilots, even with some function, like in movement, like it's a functional pilot. So they fly with a full cockpit inside, ejection seat, and the pilot on that. So, and you look the plane, and the picture of the plane, like it's very hard to distinguish the real for the
Yeah.
RC scale jet, right?
Yeah,
Because
if you
it's
don't have
very-
something there to compare with scale, when you take a picture of that plane, it's just going to look exactly like the real thing.
Yeah.
So that community is part obsession, part passion,
That's
part
right.
expertise,
That's
in
right.
order to bring it all together, right?
That's right. Yeah. And then people like the people that fly jets and this community, they take very serious, especially in the scale jets. They take very serious details they can get to put in their planes.
Right.
So, based on that, this put Ozaero on that direction to explore as much we can designs that can bring scale parts to these jets, make the community people happy, right?
Yeah.
So
I want to get a little bit back to about how you made this seat, because you've told me that you had to learn graphic design, you have to learn 3D design, and I think you probably had to learn how to finish, the seat as well, because it's incredibly painted and finished, and all the details are weathered as well. So let's talk a little bit about what experience did you have coming into it that helped you design part of this, or did you learn everything as you go along?
yeah, the part of the graphic design and paint, I have this in background
Okay.
from home. So I had that with my dad. He used to work paint lettering in trucks,
Okay.
advertising trucks. That's how I grew up. And then in Brazil, I did the art school for 4 years, a college there. So that I got a lot of other skills that we learn.
Right.
And that part of paint, like with the weathering and all these details we have here, that I learned after. I learned here
Right.
with these friends in the community. They are very knowledgeable about how to make those. And the graphic design, I already have that background, but the 3D I have to learn from scratch.
Right.
And I have no knowledge. And then that's when I also was introduced to 3D printing.
Yeah.
That's make it a huge difference. I don't see possibility to get to this detail in this product if I don't have 3D printing.
Right.
And it's this particular case, Formlabs. So that was the first 3D print that I was introduced that was able to give me the opportunity to put what I have in my mind, what I have designed, and actually in real pieces, right? So and it was fun.
So it really cut down after the 3D design all the way to production, and then you knew how to finish it because you had that experience before. And I remember you kind of walking into our much older store, smaller store in Brampton, when you were looking at both the Ultimaker and the Formlabs, and obviously the Formlabs kind of won out a little bit because of the detail that it could produce. But you started with the Form 2, right? And now we're on the Form 3. And, when you were doing this, obviously I haven't seen this back then and you were still working on it, but how much of this seat is 3D printed, and what type of resin are you using to build this?
Okay, so in quantity of pieces, for example, one of these ejection seat have over 250 pieces.
Okay.
So
you print 250 pieces separately?
All separately. I make like a bunch of each time, right? So I choose which part go with which part goes. Usually the pipes I put all together. So I try to organize each one. That way I have a workflow that doesn't affect I forgot this, I forgot that.
Because 250 pieces, that's a whole assembly, right? That's a puzzle in itself.
Yeah, and then also it's very important to learn what kind of resin I can use. That was another learning process.
Right.
So in the beginning I started with the standard resins.
Right.
I had no knowledge, but I realized that the standard resins is not for a final product. They're just for the preparation, or you just want to check how they're going to look. And as a final product, I saw that, no, this is not the right one. So that when I came back to Shopper 3D with you guys helped me with durable.
Yeah.
Durable resin was the second option. That's the one I started to use after.
Yeah.
And I used for a long time. But then come the TOF 1500.
Yeah.
So I start to use that. That's it. That was the right resin. It's strong, has some elasticity that doesn't break
Yeah.
easy. Like those pipes, for example, they stand there, they can't break because it's not has no
Yeah.
elasticity, right? So, but in this case, no, I can use durable for all of them, the durable
Fantastic.
or 1500, no problem, right? I
Yeah.
have no problem with that. And some parts, so the first part I print everything, like this is printed the first time, but after I casting them, right?
Right.
I make mold and
Yeah.
silicone of the large parts because more for gain time
Yeah.
and saving material,
Yeah.
right?
It's strong strength
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
stronger, exactly.
Less processing also
Exactly.
between so many different parts.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I think people don't realize when they see this. They see it, they're like, oh wow, it's so detailed. You put so much effort into everything. It's just for display. But no, you're actually putting these in planes. They
That's right.
actually fly, so there's actually G-forces on them.
That's right.
Right.
That's
So
right.
so
It's
that
a
needs to
lot.
be considered. It does have to be strong enough to withstand
right.
the G-forces that
That's
those
right.
RC jets go through.
That's right. In fact, some planes, these jets, they can reach 500 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
And the fact the real pilot is not in the plane, I can figure that they go over the G's that a human can take.
Right. Right.
So we have to make sure this be strong enough to be able to support the maneuvers these guys doing with their planes.
Yeah.
And also some landing. Sometimes the landing can be rough
Sure,
landing.
yeah.
So if the part is not well built and the material is not enough strong, for sure they can break in parts.
Yeah,
right?
that's fantastic. So there's a ton of detail that you put into here. It's almost hard for me to tell, which parts are 3D printed and which parts are not. Are there any not 3D printed parts on this ejection seat?
So, for example, this tube here is completely, this part is flexible resin.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So
then
that's printed.
printed.
Yeah.
So all those pipes, all these parts, this handle,
Yeah.
those little
Buckles.
buckles,
Wow.
all this is all printed.
Yeah.
It's all of them. The only thing is casting here, Ken, is the butt of the seat,
Okay.
and that's it. All these long pieces here are printed.
Okay.
So this one actually now you use 3L
Okay.
because the size of the bed in there
Right.
is enough to make in one piece.
Right.
But in the beginning, you used to make in two pieces, but all printed, and then you just make an attachment to lock it half and half.
Right. Right.
And then when you finish, you don't see that there are two pieces. But it's all 1500, because especially this part here, and the way we attach to the plane, it has to be very strong. Because actually, that's
like the spine of it.
That's
right?
the spine.
Okay.
So that's a very important to be strong piece.
Yeah. And even these little pipes are 3D printed that
All
you
3D
painted.
printed.
Right.
All of them are 1500,
Okay.
top 1500, and then even this oxygen tank in a bottle here
Right.
is all 1500, and this is all 1500. This little pneumatic pipes,
Yeah.
right? So this is all 1500, and so it's a few things like it's not printed there. So this, for example,
Yeah.
is I make this in clay by
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. Because it's organic looking. Yeah.
And then this and this part too. And then I just make a mold and casting.
Yeah.
I cast it in a rubber just to give a little bit of realism. But other than that, it's all Formlabs there.
Right. So, from beginning to finish, how long are we talking about for you to build one of these? And also to paint everything and do all of that. And how many do you make at a time?
Okay, so for the beginning, to start printing to painting and assemble, so take about 8 days,
Okay.
running days, right? So usually take about 2 days and a half to print all the parts.
Yep.
So at that point, I already have all this part prepared, casted, right?
Yep.
So and then after that, you have the process of clean, the preparation, prime, and then you have to put each one in the part where it's going to be painted first. Which one is the silver? Which one is different colors? And then the last part is the assemble.
Right.
Actually, to me is the funnest part.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a kid assemble a little toys, right? Because it's a very nice to see all the parts come together.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a lot of fun because you say, wow, that's look nice, right? But usually 8 days, 7 to 8 days to have one seat complete.
Right. Okay. Wow. And this looks to me like an exact replica of the actual thing because I'm not an expert, but you've actually showed this to some experts or pilots who've flown it, right? And what have they said when they saw this?
Yes, actually, it's a good point there because like when the first one we actually put this in the media, in social media, so for our surprise, we got a call from UK for the Martin Baker company. They're actually the company who make the real ejection seats.
Right.
So, and I talked to this person and he introduced himself as one of the sales department there, the marketing.
Yeah.
And they were very interested to see in person and maybe they add this as a product to give to their customers.
Yeah.
So we made one seat to them and sent to UK. So, and their engineers went out there to see the seats, and they asked where I got the details.
Yeah.
They were kind of shocked because it's a military item, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I told them, no, I don't have any engineer knowledge. I just got this in the pictures that I took from Pinterest. So they couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's hard to believe.
Yeah. So to me it was like a very satisfying to hear that from them.
Yeah. So Ozzie, even though I see a lot of 3D printing, I'm absolutely amazed by this because you can tell that this is not just, just 3D printing. 3D printing is just a byproduct of your passion, your ingenuity, your creativity in figuring out how to, design this. So what else is on the horizon for you? I mean, this design is now done. What other cool things are you working on right now?
Well, like we used to say, and this especially as more I learn about 3D, and I think the sky is the limit. Like you don't see anywhere you cannot go with the design. So right now, for example, we design like a navigation lights for this jet that we represent from Portugal. And this jet was inspired in Lamborghini car, they call Huracan.
Yeah.
So, and the navigation lights has a very unique looking, right, for the headlights for the car, right? It's very unique looking.
Right.
So I want to reproduce that and put in the wings for the jet. So that's the latest design we working on.
Okay.
And now that piece is in US to our partner there. He start to put the lights inside. So that's one of the things we're doing.
Yeah.
And then we work in other cockpits as well, and working like for example, in hydraulic sections.
Right.
That's go inside the planes. Yeah, so many pipes, and all printed with Formlabs.
Right.
And then you cannot tell that it's like a printed part. It's so realistic looking.
Right.
We also doing some tanks that go under the belly of the planes, the jets. Like for example, for F-16, they have this tank, like a fuel tank.
Yeah.
So we designed this for one customer in Arizona. He sent the pictures, all pictures, right? So he sent the pictures to us, and we were able to reproduce even with the little screws, the bolts, everything. Like they have some kind of grill, and then every single detail we were able to reproduce and print with Formlabs, right? So, and then that really brings a lot of realism to those parts.
Yeah. So I think now you're pretty much known in the industry, as the experts who can, replicate, almost any part, even if there was no, file to begin with.
That's
you're just
right.
going to be able to figure out from the designs from pictures and kind of replicate it as close as possible. And apparently it's extremely close to reality. So, how has that helped you grow your business? And I know that, a lot of this is a lot of passion. It's probably way more passion than business. But how has 3D printing and design as well, not just 3D printing, changed the way you look at business in this particular industry where there's very, very niche, very specialized, very detail-oriented, requests from your customers.
Yeah. So yeah, when we first start, we didn't realize that we'd be able to accomplish some products like this one. Honestly, we didn't realize that would be possible. But I'm very thankful to Formlabs, first of all, and because with that printer, because I'm not even tech guy, I don't have any tech knowledge about all this tech knowledge. But the way Formlabs came up with their products, it's so easy to print parts on Formlabs printers. That really open a big window for us. So that make us to buy 3 Formlabs too.
Right.
So that's where we started. And recently we purchased the Formlabs 3L.
Yeah.
Because we think that with 3L it would be very helpful to make like large parts to make molds from them,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Because so that's gonna help us and reduce time, and because Form 2 was very limit with how bigger you can go.
Yeah.
So I did big large parts, but I had to do in 3, 4 parts.
You have to put them together.
So the process is much longer, right, to have it all done. Now with Form 3L, not only you can do large parts, but they're faster, right? So it's in very short time, and the resolution is perfect, it's beautiful. So we just start to see that we can go beyond the hobby now. So with that in our shop, we start to explore now also doing prototype for in other sectors as well, right? So companies that are completely off of the RC hobby, because what we start to show in our website start to bring attention to these other companies, and they really start to feel comfortable and work with us and give designs for us to work with them. So that's how.
I mean, people gravitate towards good work, and when they see your work, I think they'll easily come to you and just ask the question, hey, can we do this as well? And I think that's where your business can grow. But in terms of specific pieces like this and other parts that you're also preparing and printing and designing, do you think that will scale for your business? Like, will there be more demand where you'll need 50 of these at one time, or are you mainly or will it not go in that direction? The industry can't support that. It'll always be a couple at a time. And so it's more important to focus on custom work. So how does that work between scaling and custom?
Okay, so in our case, like with Ozaero Custom Designs, we focus more on the customer. Right? So we're not trying to make in big scale of products. You don't want to get the same situation with the other manufacturers. They make so many, but then you start to lack of detail and quality. You want to keep the quality, the products we make, right? So those seats, for example, all paint one by one. So it's not something that is industrial way to do, right? So it's actually a very artisanal way. So it's custom. That's why Ozaero Custom Designs. You want to stay in that direction with Ozaero Custom Designs. And with our Ozaero 3D, yes, we're trying to expand more the prototyping the area. This way you don't affect what you're trying to accomplish here is to keep the high quality in design and parts that we make for our hobby, right?
Right. So would you still consider this, partially hobby, or has this grown more to be more business for you? How does that play out? Because I think we all in the 3D printing industry all kind of fall into this hobby versus business. It was for us as well. I mean, we used to just want 3D printers because they were the coolest thing, and now we sell 3D printers and we support customers with 3D printers. So there's always an element of hobby to business. How do you address that in your business?
Okay. Now, in my case, like right now, I don't see much more as a hobby, because I cannot have time for the hobby anymore, right? Because this actually is take a lot of your time. Like for the time you start one project to the end, you don't have much time to actually be in the field and fly planes, right?
Yeah.
So I can still go in events, but I can't even have time to fly myself. So basically now I see this more as a serious business to supply to our hobbyist community, right? That's our commitment here, and make those guys happy.
Yeah.
No, and then that's what you want. Like they come with a project, they come with idea. Let's see what we can do with that, and then we make exactly what they want, only for him. And then eventually, if you see the demand of that product, we put in our website and also sell in our website. But other than that, it's just custom for that particular customer. Right?
I totally resonate with you in terms of play slowly getting a little bit less and work starting a little bit more. But I think the big difference is we came from that play to work. We enjoy the work a lot, right?
That's right.
And it may sound crazy to people that we just enjoy working, but this is where we came from.
That's right.
Entrepreneurs, we have that spirit to put in the passion because we really enjoy the work that we're doing.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
I could see it on your face. So, you've talked a little bit about where else you're going to go, but let's talk about maybe 3 years down the road. As we get better technologies for 3D printing, as we get better software, better integration between hardware and software, where do you think that might change your business? And have you seen any technology where you think that might be very interesting in a year or so?
Yeah, so in our case, like we keep in watch, right? Especially with Formlabs, like we had the opportunity to work as ambassador together to Shop at 3D.
Yeah.
That for us is a great honor to have that. The
honor is
commitment with you guys, with Formlabs, and we are 100% committed with Formlabs in that way, because Formlabs are the company that help us to achieve what we have right now, right? And then we see in the future with all the new products Formlabs bring to the market, we see much more you can do, not only in a hobby, but we really want to do things like, for example, parts like where we live, for example, in northern Ontario, is a community of boats is huge there, right?
Yeah.
And then we have heard a lot of boat people there. They don't find parts for their boat anymore.
Yeah.
They don't find. So we start to look at those other opportunities that out there, and with the technology we already have in our hands, we see the possibility also to start to work in that area. So that's where we start to explore that part too. So with that in mind, I don't see where we can stop.
Yeah.
Like
there's just more and more opportunities everywhere you look.
As long as our brain works, and then the product's there and the technology is there for you, and as long as you have access to that, and then we see more and more this technology, especially Formlabs, is amazing. So the way they develop their products, the software, I love it. The way it works, because keep everything so flawless to prepare, to put to print, and everything. So I don't see where this is.
The limitation is only your time now, right? You just need more time to do everything.
We should have 25 hours
exactly.
a day. Because
so is there anything that we don't have now that you wish you would have? Like, this is dream resin, faster printers. Like, what magical 3D printing thing, technology or material do you wish that you would have, in order to kick it up to the next level?
Well, to be honest, like in the case like the Formlabs you use just resin ones, right?
Yeah.
So Formlabs now came with Fusion, that's come with more engineer like products to use as a final, very strong.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is see more and more stronger resins.
Right.
That's, I think, if you have more and more that in the Formlabs, the resin version ones, I think that really it's going to implement more power in our design or what we can able to offer to people, right? So it's already great what we have.
Yep.
You know, the 1,500 to 2,000 resins, they're amazing resins. But I see, like, if you have something even... No, that's why...
Because you want to get into those functional parts
That's
now,
right.
Like, you want it to be final end product ready, functional parts. You know, we're going to skip that prototyping step and go from, you know, testing all the way to, you know, production pretty much.
That's right, yeah. Because then it will be very peace of mind for us that we're able to make something and you don't have to worry that eventually that may break.
Yeah.
Or eventually for exposure in the sun or exposure in UV or whatever, right? So if you have something like that, I think that really just complement everything we is trying to accomplish, right?
Yeah. And I think, you know, they'll probably address some of that with the Fuse one. You know, we'll see stronger parts out there with nylon 11. So maybe we'll be testing that a little bit. You can send us a part to print and we'll get that out for you. But for all of the people out there who's heard your incredible story going just within 4 years from not knowing how to do anything like this to making this and now being, you know, the industry leader in being accurate and being, you know, precise and being custom, where can they find you?
So yeah, our website is ozaero.ca. So it's very, very simple, ozaero.ca. So we are there anytime. People can find us there.
And you specialize in?
Yeah, we can design anything people need. We are now worldwide, so we have a customer all over the world, and these 4 years really put us outside the country in large scale, and just check our website and contact us.
Your brand name and your work transcends borders.
Okay, thank you.
I can say that for a fact.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So it's a good time to end it off. Thank you, Ozzie, for visiting us and bringing us your incredible work to see. We will have this on display at shop3d.ca at our Mississauga location as well. So anybody who wants to see this piece in absolute glory and detail can come here and take a look at Ozzie's work. This will be available on display here, and we're very proud to display that. Please go visit Ozzie's website so you can see more of his work, detailed pictures, and all the other stuff that he's working on, and follow you on social media as well.
Thank you,
Ozzie,
Ken.
Thank you for coming.
For having me here too.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.